Good morning, my beautiful friends, and welcome to day 3 of online learning. Also, happy April. We made it to another month, even though it feels like we're basically in the apocalypse. So I hope you're staying happy and healthy and sane, even while we're all trapped inside. Full disclosure, today I have a little bit of a lengthy lesson. It might be a little bit confusing, a little bit intimidating, but if you need help when I'm done, I'm going to be on Zoom just like always, so don't be afraid to hop on and ask me questions because I want to help you. That's what I do. Before we begin, you are going to need your Romeo and Juliet text. I know it's been a hot minute since we busted out this bad boy, but that will be very helpful. So if you can grab that while I give you a couple announcements, then we'll be good to go. First of all, I got PowerSchool completely up to date. I graded your drama terms worksheet and your practice quiz. I also left a lot of very lengthy notes with your drama terms worksheet because I noticed that a lot of you were making the same mistakes. For example, the term chorus. A chorus is a pretty common musical phrase. It's that refrain that happens over and over again in a song, but we're not talking about music in this case, we're talking about theater. So that was one of the pretty common terms that you guys were getting incorrect. So I went through and I left some corrections. I also decided to upload the answer sheet because I want you guys to be studying the right material. So please make sure you hop onto Canvas and download that so you have that resource available, because we are going to eventually take a quiz on Acts 1 and Acts 2. If you have any questions about those things, please let me know. Other than that, we are quickly approaching the end of the marking period. I know that things feel a little chaotic with school right now, but we are hoping to verify grades and to get report cards out. So if you are missing work, if you have late work, even if it's from, the beginning of the semester, please make sure you are trying to catch up with those things. You should have plenty of time to work on it right now. So get your things turned in. Make sure your grade is as good as it can possibly be. That's really all that I have for now. So if you have your Romeo and Juliet packet out and ready to go, you should also at some point download this worksheet off of the Canvas page for today. It's not going to look exactly like this. Like I said on Monday, I try to modify some of these worksheets to make it a little more user-friendly for the online environment. These two things are going to help you significantly as I start to walk you through this lesson. So whenever you're ready, I will begin. Today, we're going to focus a little bit on how to properly cite a Shakespeare quote. And I know you've been doing a lot of work over the course of the past 5, 6, 7 months citing normal texts like books and articles. And I know you're super tired of talking about it because your teachers are probably being a pain in the butt with proper in-text citations. They look a little something like this. It should be pretty familiar. You have your sentence, and then at the end quotation mark, you start with the parenthesis, the author's last name. Then you have the page number, end parenthesis, and then your period always goes on the outside. I know you guys are super comfortable with that. You've had to do it a million times. The one thing that you'll be thankful about is that citing a quote from Shakespeare is a little bit different. So it's not going to be any of that repetitive process. It's going to be something a little different for you to try. And it might look a little scary at first, but I just want you to stick with me. Citing a quote from Shakespeare requires 3 different important numbers, and it looks a little something like this. So instead of having the author's last name and the page number, you have 3 numbers that are divided by periods. 1 period, 1 period, 65. This is the quote that I happen to pick. And what that translates to is the act where the quote can be found, the scene where the quote can be found, and the line where the quote can be found. So this basically means Act 1, Scene 1, line 65. Stick with me. If you pull open your Romeo and Juliet text, you should be able to locate Act 1, Scene 1, line 65. So do that with me. I'm going to page through now, I'm going to try to find Act 1, which we know is going to be at the very beginning, and Scene 1 is also right at the very beginning of the text. So, Act 1, Scene 1, and then you're going to find line 65. And the lines are printed, very, very small numbers, right in the margin of the text. So, that shouldn't be too hard for you to find. Here we go. This particular line, Tybalt is talking, and he's saying, "Have at thee, coward." And I have it highlighted here for you so that you can see all of the information is printed right there on the page. Right at the very top, it tells you the act and the scene. So you have Act 1, Scene 1. And then this little tiny number right in the margin of the text, 65, tells you that's the line that we're talking about. And I know a lot of you are going to be worried. You're going to say, "But Miss Mauer, there's a whole bunch of lines that don't have the line numbers printed." And that's okay. The line numbers are printed in increments of 5. So you'll see 5, 10, 15, 20. But you can use your counting skills to figure out that it means, line 65, 66, 67, 68, and so on and so forth. As long as you can count by 5s, I promise you can figure it out. So, you just did it with me. We were looking for Act 1, Scene 1, line 65, and we found it right here. And this text is always going to provide you with the information that you need. So if you need Act 2, Act 4, Act 5, Scene 6, Scene 3, line 152, whatever it is it asks you to find, it's already printed here in the text for you. All you have to do is get a little comfortable with skimming through and finding exactly what you need. And that's what this worksheet is going to help you do. If everything that I just said feels really confusing and super wordy, the front page of this worksheet will reiterate everything that I just said in a way that's probably a little easier to understand. Plus, it's color-coded, so that makes it really super easy. It gives you a couple tips, a couple hints about things to look out for, and then the second page asks you to practice this a little bit on your own. The first 3 questions, it gives you the citation, and it asks you to go into the text and find the quote that it's talking about, and you will record the quote for each one. The second half of this worksheet gives you a scenario. For example, the first one says, find a quote that describes Romeo's depression, and then it'll be your job to skim through, you'll find a quote, and then you will cite it in the way that you now know how to do. So, if you need help, I'm going to be on Zoom like always, going to be on my email, going to be on Remind. Please don't feel like you're kind of being thrown to the wolves having to do this by yourself, because even though you're in your home and you feel pretty isolated, you're not alone. And I'm going to be here for you, and I can walk you through this entire worksheet if that'll help. So give it a try. Let me know how it goes, and I believe in you guys, okay? Bye.